Good evening, my Roslins and Rosikins. Mother is back. And in this video, I want to talk about how a lot of times those who are beauty destined, we have a beauty destined name or an exotical name, you know? And I want to touch on the fact that names are so powerful and even encourage you to do your research on your origins, your name, like your entire name, but especially your first name. What spiritual weight does it hold? What type of atmosphere, of energy does it bring? Right? Because what I realize is a lot of times your name is paired with your destiny, whether we know it or not. And I do believe also that your name is what you make it. But I do know and acknowledge for me as a beauty destined woman and exotical that my name is paired with my destiny. And the way that I'm going to break down your name, my Rosalind's, as an example, and why mother chose the name Rosalind for her daughters is going to be, I hope, eye opening for you. And if you are wanting to become a mother one day, I hope that you really sit and ask Yah to really help you to pick a name for your child along with your husband, right? For you guys to pick a beautiful name if you decide that you want children, or if you're trying to decide a channel name for all of my Rosalynds out there who want to start their own YouTube channels. Really pray and ask Yah to send you the right name because your name holds weight and is part of your destiny. Okay, so let's begin. So, as you, my Roslins, my dearies, as you know, mother is child free, but I told myself at one point when I did want children that if I did have a baby girl, I would name her Rosalind. Hence why I name you all my Roslins. I realize mothering biologically is not for me in that way, but mothering spiritually, energetically, as an example, is for me. Mentoring, that's for me. Teaching, that's for me. Okay, so the reason that I personally had decided to name you all Rosalind is because of Titanic. That was one reason why, and because I love roses. So, as you guys know, the main character, Rose, in the Titanic movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, etc., she was basically, I wouldn't even say, I would say she was like the damsel, the main character in the Titanic, and Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Jack, he kept like really like gravitating towards her, and she was like basically in the middle of a love triangle because one point she was I believe it was engaged to a very rich man, but she chose to fall in love with Jack. Now, that part I don't agree with. My Roslins, we don't choose poverty over riches because we're beauty destined women. So riches come along with love. We should not be getting poverty and love. Fuck that. Anyway, but she in the movie chose that. Now, I want to say hindsight, I was like a little girl in love with the whole entire movie of Titanic because it looks so romantic. But woman's sight now, questionable as fuck. But I loved her name, Rosalind. And then you had Rosaline from Twilight and how she was very beautiful as well. And I've always been infatuated with bikers and roses, low key, when I was like a little girl. And roses are just so romantic. They're my favorite flower, actually, roses. Because I just find them so romantic. Okay. And so I also want to add that, when you research a name, in this case, again, I'm using my Rosalind's as the example, you want to look at different websites, different origins, etc., to get a full picture of the weight of that name. So some might so they said that Rosalind is a medieval variant of Rosalind with the D at the end. This is the name of characters in Shakespeare's Love, Labour's Lost, 1594, and Romeo and Juliet, 1596. So it's a feminine like name as well. And also, people think this name is classic, mature, formal, upper class, natural, wholesome, delicate, refined, strange, complex, serious. And that's literally how I would classify my Rosalind's as. And I've always felt that if I did have a daughter, she'd be all those things. So the name also has roots in Latin, where rosa means rose, symbolizing beauty and love. So I also used to be infatuated with Aphrodite, you know, the Greek goddess of love and beauty. But I have Mother Oshun now. Okay, she killing it. So she is the African Orisha of wealth, beauty. One could say love, but she has more of a free spirit. Think Beyonce's Lemonade album, right? Where she's so empowered, and even Black is King album. She has a lot of Yoruba, Orisha homage in it. And you know that I have Yoruba in my bloodline, in my DNA, in my ancestry. So yeah, it's clicking, honey. It's clicking. But yes. So I thought that was interesting. So the name Rosalind is of Latin origin and is derived from the word rosa, meaning rose, is a feminine name that carries the symbolic meaning of beauty, grace, and love. Rosalind is often associated with the gentle and romantic nature, reflecting the elegance and charm of a rose. I also want to add that when I think of a rose, I think of like the Adams family because Gomez is allergic to roses, but Morticia literally picks roses and just cuts off the top but because she loves roses, but she kills them because she knows her husband is allergic to them. So I think of the Adams family romantic love where Gomez is obsessed with Morticia, and that makes me think of my Rosalind. I also think of how a rose is so beautiful, but yet has thorns to protect it. So whenever I envision a rose, I've envisioned and the message that I get from a rose is that you can be beautiful as you want, but you have to protect yourself. And anything that is truly beautiful is guarded. And that's something that I spiritually have recognized with my Rosalynds. And that's why I have my channel for Rosalind, or Rosalind the Exotical. Now I changed it to Rosalind the Exotical because I'm stepping into my full identity as an exotical. Um, so my thing is just the fact that, and I also have the butterflies symbol or emoji next to Rosalind and the crown because like Rosalind is all cool, butterfly crown, etc. Crown butterfly. The point is that it's supposed to also show the transformation. You know how like a rose has to bud, you know, and it opens up and it becomes beautiful, just like a butterfly goes through their transformation in their cocoon. I often think of that, and just like with the crown, you have to earn your crown. You have to go through certain steps. Um, to be initiated into what it is to be royal, right? So, and you have to have the bloodline to check that off. That's why the crown is there too. When I think of Rosalind, I think of regal. I think of timeless. I think of beauty. I think of classic. I think of danger, but like romance, hopeless romance. I think of like faded love. I think of so many beautiful things. I think of bikers. I think of like sexiness. I think of passion. I think of tragedy at times too, which also plays into the fact that beauty isn't fair. It's definitely favor from Yah, but there are tragic things. Hence my, pretty privileged plights or privileged plight series, where I talk about the things that I deal with, and a lot of you can relate because you're a pretty woman. And I just want to stress that when mother is making her content, when mother is deciding what I'm going to give you as my Rosalind's and as your mother, I want you to know that I'm thinking it out. I'm very thoughtful. Every day, sometimes, I feel guilty because I don't post enough about these things that you might ask of me or that's on my heart because I just don't have the time or the energy. Sometimes I even am doubting myself on my YouTube building journey. I go through a lot of stuff that I don't really share on here that much. I just remain silent until I feel recharged enough and empowered enough and within myself to open my mouth and speak on things. But mother is here for you. And Mother wants you to know your greatness just like I know mine. Now, I know that a lot of us are anonymous on my channel and, on YouTube in general. And shout out to you, pretty anonymous ladies. But I want to encourage you all to please, 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 I want you to research your name. I need you to understand the discovery, the destiny, the definition of who you are when people call you by your name. So, like Rosalind, when someone calls you Rosalind, when I call you Rosalind, what the definition is like rose. So, what I'm saying is my roses, you know, let's do this, let's do that, Mother loves you, my roses. Like you're like a garden as well. Like again, you can look at this on so many different ways spiritually when I call you Rosalind. So it's like I'm talking to the flowers, the roses in the garden that are growing, that are maturing, that are blooming. I'm speaking life into the seeds I'm planting so that you all can flourish and bloom to the greatest capacity that you are meant to. So think of yourself as a rose as well when Mother is addressing you. And I'm like the little gardener out there making sure my beautiful roses are growing, my beautiful Rosalinds, right? And that can coincide with mothering. I'm mothering the garden. I'm mothering you. I'm helping you to grow spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, etc., financially. Because I want you to be the best that you can be because you mean so much to me. And I know what it's like to be a Rosalind or to have the thoughts of wanting to mother a Rosalind and, at times even doubting yourself. Am I capable of nourishing this garden? Am I capable of helping these roses to bloom? Mother thinks of these things. But I remind myself, hell yeah, I'm a gardener. I'm a teacher. I'm a mother. I'm mother in my own way, right? And not literally, but, like spiritually. And I have a lot to give, a lot of love to give, a lot of growth to help encourage you because I'm growing just like you. We're all flourishing here, right? And so please look into your name. Names don't just come easy. A lot of times for us beauty destined women, the name that we have, the name that we have, the name that we have has a spiritual meaning and is paired with the calling on our lives. So when I call you my Rosalynds as an example, that means your calling is to bloom, it's to rise, it's to grow, it's to transform, right? And even in my bio, I talk about calling you guys my monarchs, my butterflies as well. My monarchs. And when I say monarchs with the the crown and the butterfly, it's a double-edged sword. I mean monarchs in the way of queens, and I also mean monarchs in the way of butterflies who are transforming from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The transformation of from where you started to what you're truly meant to be, right? Or what you are now to who you're always destined to become. So Mother wants to just remind all my beautiful Rosalinds out there that once you look into your name, a lot of things will click. I remember the first time that I literally researched my entire name and everything made sense. I was like, oh, damn, okay. Like, it's giving, because everything that it was saying, I resonate with because I'm that bitch. Like, I'm that person. I'm that woman. I'm that beauty icon. I'm that. I'm she. I'm her, you know? And so it was just like, oh my God, this explains it. I'm not crazy. I'm meant to be these things. I was born to be these things. I was promised to be these things, because it's just literally in my name. And you will be shocked at how much your name has revealed your destiny. You will be shocked. You will be shocked. Sick it. You'll be sick it and shook it. Okay? You'll be shook it. So, yeah. And I also want to encourage you that if you feel that your name is not hitting the way you want it to hit, bring meaning to it. Define it for yourself. Also, I go by different aliases as well. Like Mother has different, as one could say, alter egos. And I'm exploring that even more now because I feel like for beauty destined women, we have different parts of us. We have different versions of us. And one name is powerful, encompasses every part of you, but sometimes you want to isolate the different parts of you. So you go by different names, you know? And so I want you to know that it's okay to explore the journey of defining who you are through a name. It's okay to actually give reverence to your name. Some of us are named by our ancestors. You know, I'm tied to like matriarchs in my family with my name that still fit my destiny, right? And it's just so powerful because part of you wonders like, are you their second chance sometimes? Like your ancestors' second chance? I mean, some of us are like juniors, but in the girl version of um, our names. A lot, so like some of us have middle names. I have a lot of middle names. Um, and so I have multiple names that encompass who I am, but I'm still giving reverence to my very first name and last name. And as you continue on your Beauty Destined name journey and understanding every single name within your name and then creating more names for yourself that encompass who the fuck you are, you're going to understand by and by that what you've always, the person, the woman you've always thought you were, you are. And no one can take that from you because it's literally destined. It's written in ink, okay? And blood oath that this is who you are meant to be. And so I wanted to say all that because a subscriber also had requested it. Shout out to that subscriber, okay? Because I feel that it's important that I touch on certain topics. And, you know, when I was an educator, I also had encouraged all my students to actually look up their names. It was actually an assignment that I had given because I knew my name was powerful and I wanted them to know that their name was powerful too because sometimes we act out and start acting like something we're not because we don't understand the greatness behind our own name, right? And shout out to at Clista Martin 7427. She had requested this, and I'm glad she did because I love stuff like that. And I guess for me, I wasn't even thinking, oh, wait, I could bring this to my YouTube channel. And now I am thinking that, and I'm glad she requested because I love to do topics on things you're interested in as my subscribers and as my Rosalind's. And also because I've done this before, because I believe names are so powerful. I mean, if you look at the word of the Lord, you see so many people getting their names changed, right? Getting their names changed, like Jacob got his name changed to Israel. So, because he was stepping into his true calling, his true meaning, his true destiny. So, and also I want to add if your name ends up changing within your story, within your journey, within your elevation, within your glow up, it's okay too. Because sometimes we have to change our name to fit who we're really meant to be because the name that we were given was just a placeholder, right? Until we earn that crown, that position, that identity that we always were meant to have. And so, with all that, I'm going to say, ciao, my Rosalins. Mother loves you. Have a nice day.